Thank you for watching this presentation on supporting students with disabilities in the college transition process. The Office of Disability Services, or ODS, authorizes and supports academic accommodations for University of Alabama students. We are located in Hauser Hall, room 1000. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 5:45 p.m. Our services and resources are offered free of charge to students. You may contact our front desk by calling 205-348-4285 or emailing ods@ua.edu. There's a wealth of information available on our website at www.ods.ua.edu. The Americans with Disabilities Act defines disability as a physical or mental impairment which substantially limits one or more major life activities. ODS can offer accommodations for a variety of disabilities, including cognitive disorders such as ADHD, learning disorders, and traumatic brain injury, psychological disorders such as anxiety, depression, and autism spectrum disorders, sensory or mobility impairments, any medical condition that may be impacting the student academically, and temporary impairments resulting from injury or surgery that persist beyond a few weeks. Accommodations are determined on a case-by-case basis according to the impact of the student's condition. Some commonly requested accommodations include testing accommodations, such as extended testing time, reduced distraction environments, or use of technology for assistance with reading and writing during exams. The ODS Testing Center is a proctoring location to support students and instructors with testing accommodations. We also offer note-taking assistance through audio recording of lectures, use of a smart pen, or other technology. Communication access real-time transcription, closed caption videos, and sign language interpreting are available for students who are deaf or hard of hearing. Some students receive accessible materials such as alternative format textbooks or document conversion. ODS also authorizes priority registration to allow students to register for classes early to account for any disability-related course scheduling needs. The ODS online portal is a one-stop location for managing academic accommodations. Students seeking to register with ODS complete the online application and submit documentation of disability. Students may also request appointments through the portal, and once ODS has approved accommodations, students send electronic accommodation letters to instructors. ODS offers many opportunities for students and their families to ask questions. For an optional information session, please contact our office to schedule an appointment. Once the student has been accepted to the university and commits to attend, it is appropriate to begin the process of officially requesting accommodations. Students must complete the online application in the ODS online portal and provide documentation of disability. Students should share our documentation guidelines with their evaluator or provider and submit documentation corresponding to each diagnosis for which accommodations are requested. An accommodation specialist will review the documentation and notify the student if additional information is required. Students should check their Crimson email account for communications from ODS regarding next steps. If we need to meet with a student, this will be communicated via email, and students can request an appointment through the portal. When meeting with an accommodation specialist, students will be asked to discuss the impact of their disability and the accommodations they are requesting. The accommodation specialist will review relevant policies, student rights and responsibilities, and the process for requesting accommodations each semester through the portal. Appointments are first come, first served, and staff calendars fill up quickly at the start of the semester. Entering students are encouraged to submit documentation and schedule an appointment during the summer before their fall enrollment. Students electronically request accommodations each semester and meet with instructors to discuss implementation. For any questions or concerns, students contact their assigned accommodation specialist. ODS treats all student information as confidential, so a student's diagnosis or approval for accommodations is never shared with others on campus, nor will this information appear on the student's transcript or diploma. Students are responsible for self-disclosing accommodations to instructors, so it is always the student's decision to share information regarding their accommodations. Legally, faculty do not have a right to know a student's diagnosis. While students are allowed to sign a FERPA release applying to their educational record with the university, any information related to a student's disability or accommodations is held separately from the primary educational record, and therefore the university's FERPA release does not apply to ODS. Students who wish to permit ODS to communicate with parents may complete an information release consent during the ODS application process. Parents and guardians must understand that students are considered to be adults once they enter the post-secondary environment, and therefore the onus for requesting and arranging accommodations and communicating with ODS rests solely with the student. Even if students consent for ODS to communicate with parents, it is required that students communicate directly with ODS rather than abdicating this responsibility to parents or family members. While ODS assists students with academic accommodations, we do recognize there are a variety of other needs or interests a student may have during their time at UA, so we'll discuss some of those here. Students seeking housing accommodations should contact housing and residential communities. For food allergies or dietary needs, reach out to the Dining Services Coordinator. If you have questions about accessible parking permits or transportation through Crimson Ride, contact Parking Services. For scholarship or financial aid inquiries, contact Student Financial Aid or your state's vocational rehabilitation program. Several campus resources may be helpful to students, and we've included those on this slide for your reference. ODS does not provide products or services of a personal nature, such as mobility devices, personal aids, technology hardware or software, tutoring, or academic coaching. Tutoring and academic coaching at UA is offered by the Capstone Center for Student Success. For learning or diagnostic evaluations or assessments, contact the Psychology Clinic or your student's clinical provider. Academic advising is an additional resource available to all students. ODS is unable to provide guidance regarding course or instructor choice, so the academic advisor in the department of the student's major serves as the resource for this type of question. Students will meet with an academic advisor during BAMA Bound orientation and must schedule an appointment with their advisor at the beginning of each semester to have their advising pin cleared so that they can register for classes. To successfully transition to college, keep in mind the following differences from high school. Set reasonable expectations to enhance student success. Research suggests that students should spend approximately 2 to 3 hours per credit hour studying to be successful in their courses. That is a minimum of 6 hours weekly committed to a typical class. College material is more demanding, with a faster pace and greater independence. High school classes are typically smaller, more interactive, and graded frequently, often with non-cumulative assessments. In college, classes meet less frequently, possibly 2 to 3 times a week, requiring more out-of-class work, and can have large enrollments, possibly up to 300 students. College courses often rely on lectures, which may challenge certain learning styles, and fewer tests means higher stakes for individual assignments. During the transition from high school to college, it is also valuable to understand the rights and responsibilities outlined in post-secondary disability law. In the high school or secondary setting, the intent of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, is to provide a free, appropriate public education to students with disabilities in the least restrictive environment. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act also applies to ensure program access for individuals with disabilities. The school district is responsible for identifying, evaluating, and planning educational services for the student, and is also responsible for providing special instruction, individualized education plans or IEPs, and accommodations. Because students are entitled to receive a public education, the application of the law focuses on the student's success. In the post-secondary setting, Section 504 continues to apply concerning program access for students with disabilities, but IDEA no longer applies. Instead, the ADA requires that students have a documented disability and be otherwise qualified for admission and participation in the program. Students must self-identify to ODS as an individual with a disability and initiate an accommodation request. The application of the law in post-secondary setting focuses on equal access for students. A successful college student is someone who knows how to manage their most critical resource, time. Here are some helpful tips for students. Number 1, make a to-do list. Put the most important tasks at the top, even if they're things you're dreading, and tackle them first. Include things you want to do on your list too, so you have items that you're looking forward to. Try motivating yourself with a reward if you get to everything on your list. Number 2, keep your work with you. That way, if you find yourself with extra time, you can get something done. Number 3, don't be afraid to say no. It's okay to say no if your friend asks you to go to a movie one night, but you have a test the next morning. Number 4, find your productive time. Are you a morning person or a night person? You'll be more efficient if you work when you're at your best. Number 5, create a dedicated study time. Set up a time devoted only to studying or homework. Shut off your phone and respond to calls or texts when your work is finished. Don't check email or surf the web during this time either, unless it's necessary for the work you're doing. And number 6, get a good night's sleep. Your brain needs rest to perform at its peak. If it's time to sleep, list the things you still need to get done on the next day's to-do list and go to bed. In some cases, students benefit from a more supportive approach to time management and organizational skills, such as academic coaching or similar services. While ODS does not provide academic coaching, there are UA and community resources available. Thank you for joining me for this presentation. If you have any questions about the information we've presented, please contact ODS. We look forward to working with your student during their time at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide!